And it looks like we are live. Yes, we are. So welcome everyone. Oh, I'm just going to take a moment to breathe. Just breathe for a moment. I'm also going to pause the video over there because it starts playing and I'm like, wait, no, I can't be doing two things at once. So welcome to the Aligned Ambitions Show. And we share women's entrepreneurial wisdom. I feel like I need to change the name of this show because I cannot say entrepreneurial easily enough. So that's a whole thing. You gotta love live. So, are you a woman starting or growing your online heart-centered business? Are you wanting to do things differently? Do you feel icky about using manipulative marketing tactics and are ready to align your business with your ethics, values, and life goals? If so, then you want to stick around for this conversation. Today, I have with me Celia Barsby of Soul Garden Party. Celia is a creative visionary and now your personal cosmic soul guide. Celia creates a safe space for women seeking inner joy and connection to their own wisdom. You can find her passion for living in creative flow with the universe and recalibrate your life so that it becomes vibrant and magical, full of self-discovery and purpose. So welcome, Celia. Oh, and you're muted. We were just talking about her mic turning off on its own, and it looks like it did it again. That's going to be a fun thing.
Okay, let's see
Yep,
whether
there we
that
go.
works. Does that
I'm just going
work?
to have to keep you talking. You
Okay,
won't be
yeah,
able
I'm
to.
just going to have to keep talking, and if not, I'm sure there's a backup plan. We can do this. Yes, it's
We can
even
do
my
it.
microphone is very excited about being here.
Lori and
Uh,
Tracy are both saying hi. So, um,
Hi.
Celia, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe what is the catalyst for change for you, or what was the catalyst in your business change?
Okay, so I always like to say to people, I've always been a teacher. From the time that I was 7, and I used to line my dolls and teddies up, and I used to teach them. And I had a mark book, and I used to have a red pen and the whole thing. But I've always loved that idea of sharing what I know. So even when I went, I did go into formal education teaching. I used to teach maths. Okay, so you can't get more teachy than that. So I was a maths teacher for a while, and then I spent some time supporting my now ex-husband in his business, and I found that actually I was still teaching.
Nope, now your mic went again. We tested everything before we started.
Okay, I'm just going to do that. How's that?
Without the mic? Yeah, sounds like a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
plan.
We'll just go with that. And I was good at explaining. I was good at explaining, and I loved explaining things to other people. And so that was my role, and I began to recognize that actually teaching in some form was going to be my mission in life. That's what I was good at. That was what I was good at doing, and it came really naturally to me. And I then spent some time working in a college with teenage lads, 16 to 18. I had 200 sons that, and I would spend a lot of my time with them saying, well, you need to do, when you choose a career, you need to do what lights you up, what you want to get out of bed in the morning. And I started to have this feel like I've got this voice talking in my ear, because we always teach what we need to learn, going, well, when are we going to do that? And I think the catalyst for me for change has always been when I get to the point of breakdown. I was, I got cold after cold, flu after flu. Sinus infection is an indicator for me. Now, when I get a sinus infection, I go, oh, what's the next level? When we there's obviously going to be a big breakthrough. I didn't always feel like that, and I think that was an indicator. Whether it was the catalyst, but certainly when we experience those challenging times, that's when we experience the transformation. You know, the world, I've experienced breakdown, as the world calls it, a couple of times, major incidents in my life. First time was, it was horrible because you know, the world treated me like it was, oh, she's having a breakdown, you know, and I can now look back and say, no, that was a breakthrough.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
second time it happened, I recognized the symptoms and I had more tools. I had, you know, I'd started to develop that toolkit. But those are the indicators for me when I start to go, this is feeling really muddy and yucky. I love your word icky because, you know, sometimes it does. It feels, you know, how am I going to get out of this? And that's when, you know, we don't move, we don't change anything if we're super comfortable. So that's, you
Yeah.
know, when you're uncomfortable, that's when you get to change and move on.
Absolutely. I think one of the more common things that I say is you need to get comfortable with the uncomfortable because that's the
Yes.
only way we're going to move forward.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you're starting a business, absolutely. Now, I met you after you wrote your book, The Garden
Mhm.
Party, and I just want to talk a bit about that to start with. What what was the catalyst for you to write that book? And tell us a little bit about the book, and then what was the catalyst for that?
Mm. Okay. So um the catalyst really, I think I became aware that if you are to be taken seriously in this world, quite often a book declares you to be an expert in your field. Now, we can talk about that, we could talk a lot more about whether that's right or wrong. But let's think about it as a gateway. So, writing my book, actually getting my website up and running with the support of a coach, that then positioned me into being able, it opened more doors. It opened doors so that I had something to talk about. I had something, oh, sorry, wanted to, it suddenly went, that's my back. Don't show my back, show my front. Um, so that really became, now I have something to talk about. The other thing that the Garden Party book did for me was really allow me to gain clarity over what it was I wanted to share. So you go, yes, I'm a teacher. Well, now what am I teaching? Let's, you know, and this really is my curriculum. This is what I teach. I teach the Garden Party. The Garden Party is a story. I was raised on story. I love the power of story. And it is my story. But I invite you to join me on this adventure through my life. And because I'm a teacher, I make you do some work along the way. So, you know, things happen to me, but then I invite you to reflect on how those similar experiences for you, because we all have that moment. I talk about a pivotal moment in your life when you go, oh, that was a thing. Um, Whether it is trauma, whether, you know, whatever that experience is, for a lot of women, it does begin with trauma. I talk about your deepest wound is your greatest medicine. That's where we start from. Um, and a beautiful love story that is that gave me my 15 magical keys was a gold charm bracelet that my dad gave to my mum. And each year there was I always get the chills when I talk about the bracelet. There was a symbol each year that represented their year. And as I started to work with that bracelet and go, oh, well, what does that symbol mean in terms of our life journey? And I began to really feel into the power of those symbols. As I say, it gives me the chills because it was such a beautiful gift that came almost by accident in how that and you know, you can read about that in the book, but those 15 magical keys, 15 charms, became this cohesive teaching. And so that's really what Garden Party is all about. And you do need to do some work. I'm sorry. Not really. Because if we don't, if we're here because we want to grow and change. And the symbolism and the analogy of the garden is so beautiful, because you get to do some work if you want a garden to thrive and grow and flourish and develop. It requires work. And we're just working on ourselves.
And I love that you've now built everything around that, right?
Yeah.
Because you've got your program now and all that. And I love that you have that one thing. I think this is what a lot of us do.
Yes.
We want to do all the things, right?
Mm.
And
Oh
and I
yeah.
know I talk about this in the mastermind a lot because I made this mistake. So just have the one thing,
Yeah.
and you can expand from that. You have your book, which is the teachings, and then you have your
Yeah.
program, and then you can do all the other things from that. That's the one
Yeah.
thing, and everything
Yeah.
comes back to that. And I think that's really important. Mm.
Yes, because I think as well, if you, like me, come from a creative background, we do have shiny object syndrome, and we go, oh well, I need that, and I need this, and oh, I need that as well. And where I think um, I think it's another breakthrough really, is seeing and understanding the power and it's coming to the alignment that it is the one thing, and that it is complete. It's a deep dive. There are parts where we do the deep work of transformation, and as I've been putting together the online program, I've experienced every key at a deeper level, because you go, oh yeah, I know that that's what this key is teaching. We start with the journey, and I talk about speaking your truth and your spirituality. And it's as I was moving through and really deepening my connection with my own teachings, that you go, and then I start, you get to number 5 and going through the mill, and you go, yeah, I did. I did go through the mill, because it is that, how much pressure are we able to withstand to provide the bread that makes the flour, the flour to make the bread, and being in flow of the universe. So it's been a magical journey this year, just sort of bringing out of the teachings the online version,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Mm-hmm.
exciting, and I'm very proud of. And you know me. There was a time 6 months ago I was struggling to say things like that.
And I love that you do it now.
Yes,
Yes.
and I've
Yeah.
said it live
Yeah. In the public. I love
in
that.
the public. Yes, because we weren't taught that was an okay thing to do, to say, yeah, I'm really proud of what I've done here, this creation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do. I absolutely love that. And when you decided to leave your job, did you know that you were going to do this? Or did you just know you had to do something different? Did you know
No, I
already?
no, I just knew I had to do something different. And that really it was very clear that, let's take the analogy of being of a birth. Yeah. You have to leave the womb. And you have to leave the safety. Well, at least that was true for me. If you are somebody who's been able to go from one to the other, and sort of, I always sort of thought, oh, I'm going to have my full-time job, and I'm going to create this business alongside, and then I will just sidestep. And the universe went, no, we're not going to do it like that. You are going to leave and create the space, and you're really going to trust, because I was working with the word trust as my word of the year, and it was the beginning of December, and I was thinking, I get to have a new word of the year, and I got this really, my morning meditation. It was we've got the whole of December yet. You haven't begun to understand what trust looks like. Oh, okay. And I went to my husband and I said, I'm not going to resign today. And he went, oh, okay. I said, but I am going to resign after Christmas. I felt I had a responsibility to the students that I was working with. They had a big deadline at the end of January, and I wanted to see them through that deadline. And then I left a couple of weeks later. So, and did I know what I was stepping into? No, I didn't. I did. It was very much, step into that trust place, and see what unfolds. And it was when I created the space, when I really went, right, okay, now what? That's when made the right connections, and met people that were able to enable me to put Garden Party and bring it to fruition, and sort of get all the pieces together.
And that's exactly it, right? We often are trying so hard to make something be that
Yeah.
we miss everything. And when we can just let go, everything just lines up perfectly for us. And we just have to take one step after another. And we don't have to worry about and it's so easy for us to get caught in, oh, but what about,
Mm.
6 months down the road, or what about 3 months down the road, or even at the end of the month. But if we can just take that one step, worry about this step. Okay, now what's opened up? Worry about this step, right? And it just keeps unfolding in front of us. And it's amazing, absolutely amazing.
And I think, I mean, I talk a lot about, wandering down garden paths because I do. Um, but every step that you take, you have a different view. You're in a different position, and you go, oh, I can see around the corner now, or oh, I can see, the land all opens up before you. Or, and sometimes you go, no, I still can't see, I've entered a wood, but it is just taking that one next step. And that does require trust, and it does require courage. And you keep going, and you go, okay. And this is why I think the aligned part of the business program is so critical, and crucial. Critical is too strong word. It's crucial because my day starts with a moment of calm reflection, daily practice of listening. And then some days it's right, well, we're going to do this today. You go, oh, okay, right. That's what I need to do next. Which is again not the way that we are taught.
Yeah. No, we're absolutely not. And I mean, it's one of the reasons I do what I do, because I did all the things that I was taught to do, and it
Yes.
just was no better than working for somebody else. I was still burnt out. I was still struggling. And when I finally was able to go like, I can't do it this way. I can't do it the way everybody else says I have to do it.
Mm.
And it's
Yeah.
amazing when you can just let go of that, how everything
Mm.
just falls into place.
Yeah. And I think, one of the things that's come to me recently is when you are changing the habits of a lifetime and the teachings of a lifetime, it's not something that just happens overnight. You go, oh, well, that's right. I'm just going to do it this way. You go, no, we are unpeeling those layers. And sometimes it feels like you're doing it every day. Sometimes it feels like you're doing it every hour of
Mhm.
remembering, no, I don't do it like that. This is the way that I am going to be able to be of service. Because if I am exhausted and burnt out, and if I'm not enjoying Garden Party, who on earth is going to want to come and find out what it's all about?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
And when you think about, alignment in your business,
Mm.
what does that mean for you to align your business?
I think for me, it's the authenticity. It's the authentic. Um, I I walk the walk. I am doing it's like I said, I have brought my online program to a place of completion because actually I've gone through it. I've been through my entire program over the course of actually bringing it to life. I've done it. I've done the program, and there were moments when I'd go, why is this so? Why am I experiencing this? Why is this so hard? And you're going, well, you're writing about shadow work, so you're going to do the shadow work
Yeah.
because I don't want to ask anybody to do any of my clients, any of the women that I work with. I'm not going to ask them to do something that I've not done myself because that isn't authentic. I talk about being my authentic, rebellious, quirky self because that matters. It matters the authenticity. And that's where I think I have quite strong images. And again, it's happening, even as I start to think about what's coming next year, is all of the pieces coming together. Is that's alignment. It's but in um not in a linear sense. It's not, oh, well, I'm going to do this, and that. I don't think it works like that. But there's all of the pieces that are slotting together. It's like a giant 3D puzzle. Um, and I think you can only do that if you are authentic and saying, yeah, do I have tough times? Do I have days when I think, what on earth am I doing? And I go, yeah, yeah, I do. And then I go, oh, hang on a minute. Remember why you're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's that, oh yes, it's about being me. My program is called Free to Be Me.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, I remember. But when you go, I mean, I've got 60 something, I'm going to be 64 this year. I was telling my grandchildren, somebody wrote a song just for me about when I'm 64, and they look very confused. But I've got 60. I mean, when did I start this journey? I've certainly got 60 years worth of stuff to peel off and leave behind because this is all, this is new. This is a new way of being me, a new way of being. I have a bee. My bee sits on my altar because you go, I need that constant visual reminder. You go, oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, more important to be, not do. Mm.
Yes, and I love the way you said that because we are taught to behave a certain way, to show up a
Mm.
certain way, to do things, I always joked about get married, buy a house, have the 2.1 children. And I'm like,
Yeah.
2.1, the dog, you work in the same job forever. That's not as much anymore. But when I first started working, it definitely was. You were supposed to get a
Mm.
job and stay in that forever. And it nearly killed me numerous times trying
Yes.
to do all of those things. I didn't fit that mold. And I don't think really anyone completely fits that mold. And so everybody's striving for something that doesn't work for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is so, and that's so true that everybody is thinking that they're supposed to fit into this mold when actually nobody does. And then you wonder why there are so many people that are off sick or don't want to go into work. And you go, well, I think the whole COVID experience actually made people really see that actually that things can be done differently. And of course that transition back, which I think is the worst thing, you go, no, no, let's not go back because we discovered so much about the
Hmm.
way that, the importance of actually, oh, you mean I can work from home? And I've got friends and relatives who haven't gone back into the office,
Hmm.
and their lifestyle means that they can take an elderly relative to the hospital for an appointment, and then they can do the hours that they need to do at another time. And that matters.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
I have to say I'm shocked as well at how many people are going back to what we had in place before because it didn't work and it
It
continues to not
didn't, but
work.
but there was this
It's
false
comfortable.
security. We it's like we said at the beginning, when we are comfortable,
Hmm.
That's not where we grow.
Hmm.
We experience growth when we're uncomfortable, and not everybody is able or wants that discomfort, if you like.
Hmm.
Uh, but for those of us that go, oh no, I don't want to do it like that, then yes, it's going to feel weird and uncomfortable, and people are going to go, what on earth are you doing? You know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because and this is the thing that I've learned, I think the biggest thing I've learned in having my own business and then now in coaching other women with their businesses is that you have to do the work. You have to do the self-healing, you have to do the self-awareness. All of that has to be done or we're not going to be able to succeed.
No,
It
no. And
it is
again
so
and
vital.
again and again,
Mhm.
because
Yes.
we are growing and we're changing and we're developing, and there's always another layer of expansion. I've worked with I did have discussions with my guides at the start of the year that I would really like another word, please, not expansion. But they were they were adamant that no, 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 we're going to have expansion. And I thought, oh, okay. But it has been a year of expansion, and every time you reach an edge of expand, you go, oh yeah, I've got that. You go, well, right, okay, now we're going to move through that one, and it's like this um, continuous expansion
Mhm.
and you go it's like I remember we went for a one of my keys is stop and smell the roses. It's celebrate how far you've come. And the imagery I have for that was we were in Scotland and we went for a walk at dawn. We don't quite see dawn, but it was early. And we were walking, the dawn light, and we were walking up this really steep hill. And I kept going, oh my goodness, what's next? There's sort of I'm got heading somewhere over there, and I couldn't. There were moments when you can't even see the peak of where you're heading, and you're going down this path, and then up that bit, and it was every step you took, and you go, oh yes, I've got there, and you go, all right, now we're going on a bit, and it's that next level. But when you pause and you go, oh yeah, but look how far I've come, then you go, oh yeah, now I can go on a bit further. And this whole um, business journey is like that. That as we started, you said you've just learned how to do something new with YouTube,
Mhm.
and you do the thing and you go, oh yeah, okay, I can do that now. Well, what if I do what if I can expand in my business and do something else that's going to make it better? We don't go, oh well, I've started my business, I've written my book, I've got my beautiful banner here, and there we go then, and I'm just, that's it, isn't it? And you go, no, because it's always growing, always developing, and um you're always looking for the next way of improving, or growing. You grow yourself and you grow, and your business is growing with you.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's
Absolutely.
exciting, but yes, is it hard? I don't know. I don't like that word, hard work. It is work because we're doing the work of transformation.
Mhm.
Um,
I think
yeah,
that's the harder part, not the actual building of the business. I think the
mm,
personal transformation that we have to go through
yeah,
is the work, and then the
yes,
business is just learning skills, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Hmm. Yeah,
yes. I like that. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
It's sort of, I suppose it's like a different set of tools, isn't it? I mean, I personally I use creativity as a personal tool. Now I suddenly had an aha moment during the year when I realized that I could use creativity as part of my business tracking. You will remember, when I'd got all these steps that I wanted to do in my business program. I drew a plant that was my to-do list,
Hmm.
and I coloured bits in, and you go, oh, you mean I can use creativity as a tool in my business planning? And actually, then it was easy. well, certainly easeful, maybe not easy. I like the word easeful. It felt, and again, it's that alignment. I'm bringing creativity into the planning process. I'm bringing my spirituality into my planning process, and that's where that alignment comes back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are
Mm.
important ones for me that I've learned, the creativity, spirituality.
Yeah.
All of those pieces are important for me in building my business and working on my business. And it's part of the
Yeah.
things that I share also in the mastermind, because I think it's so important, especially if you're a creative, a healer, spiritual person. Why are those pieces not a part of your business? Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, because if you're
Yes,
teaching
definitely.
those
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
you should be living those things.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I started, I suppose it was 2 years ago, my journey with following the moon, understanding more about moon phases, more than just new moon and full moon. I went, oh no, I want to learn more about the quarter moons and then the daily moon, and then that just adds another, and for me, it's another layer of richness, so that on a day, I know, when the moon is in my 12th house, I want to retreat into my, and that is a meditative, quiet time. Those are not days for me to be doing an interview like this, for example. I wouldn't, and so now I block those days out because I know that those aren't occasions when I am going to be able to be my exuberant, rebellious, quirky self. Um, and that's something that oh, you mean I don't have to be the same every single day all through the month? I'm allowed to be in alignment with the rhythm of the universe and the lunar cycle. And you go, and that's made life so much easier. Because you go,
Hmm.
oh no, I don't do that on those 3 days, and I black it out. There was one month I didn't actually. I hadn't put it in the calendar, and I was thinking, what is going on? Because I was doing stuff and I was all over the place, and then I suddenly clocked. I went, oh yes, yes,
Yeah.
lesson learned, and we learn when we get it wrong.
That is how we learn. That's how we learn.
Yes, oh absolutely, yeah,
And I think that what you said too about, when you do work for yourself, you have the ability to work with the lunar cycle. You have the
yeah.
ability to work with your, um, whatever your personal cycle is. You can,
Mm.
if you are evenings, I know you often say you work in mountain time. You live in the UK and I live in Canada, and you work in mountain time because, you start your day with me, and then
Yeah,
often end your day with me. So, but you have that ability because
yeah,
because you work for yourself, and
yeah,
that's the thing that our cubicles don't allow, right? They don't
no,
allow people to work in the cycles that work for them.
no.
And I think that really does people a disservice. And when we had, people working from home through COVID, and they were able to do that, all the studies said people were more productive, more work was getting
Yes,
done,
yeah.
people were happier, and yet they still needed that control, brought everybody back into the offices.
Mm,
And it's like,
yeah,
yeah, I find it so fascinating, but it
yeah.
is, it's true. It's what we're
It,
comfortable with. And
yeah, and I think the whole global community, yes, and a lot of my days start start with morning calm at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which now doesn't seem at all strange to me at all. But then there'll be a day when perhaps I'm talking to somebody in Australia or New Zealand, and that's often tends to be very early in the morning for me. So that's the best, that's the best alignment, if you like. And so if I'm doing that, if I've got a call at, 7 o'clock my time in the morning, and then I know there's going to be something later, and I can schedule in and going, well, I am not going to work from, or that doesn't mean my day is solid from 7 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night.
mhm,
I build in oh, well, actually, I'm not going to be quote unquote working, because it's weird, isn't it, that work doesn't feel like work. And I think that's where sometimes we, as a heart-led business, we can we can be at risk of burning out because we enjoy what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just going, no, we're, this is why we're doing this. We work when we want to work, when it's when what's the right word? See, it is quite late here, so now my language is going. um, it's I want to come back to alignment.
Mm-hmm.
That
It is
we go,
alignment.
yeah, it is. That's what
Mm-hmm.
alignment is. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, is fitting the pieces together so that we don't end up completely exhausted. January last year, actually, I was in a. I remember taking part in a panel conversation that was all about burnout, and I thought this is so appropriate because it was exactly what I was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a panelist talking about how to avoid burnout, feeling that I was really needing to use all of my tools that I was talking about because that was the position I was in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
it's
do you feel more aligned this year?
oh, definitely, because I think the other big shift for me is that I know in December and January, I live in the Northern Hemisphere. This is my reflective time, my period of downtime, of I love the darkness. I mean, it's actually it's 8:30 here in the evening and it's dark outside and I'm looking up at the night sky and you go, yeah, I love that. That's
Mm-hmm.
so cool. Um, but I don't want to be rushing around all day. This is where historically I found Christmas incredibly difficult because it was, it was the do, and you got to be lively and bright and doing all of the things. And I was going, I don't want to. I just, and then I would feel there was something quote unquote wrong with me because I didn't want that in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
I want to retreat and I want to spend time in reflection. And I love that that's what we get to do with our business. We go, yeah, okay, we are going to reflect and see what wants to be birthed in the next season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's interesting. I feel so completely different this year. Um, that it's almost wow. Keep going. Oh, okay. No, it's when you check in with yourself and you go, how are you doing? And you go, no, we're doing okay. I mean, I've layered the slight complication that I'm in the process of selling my entire house and worldly goods and moving.
Become
But
a
even with that, there are times when you go, this is really intense. But being able to say, well, you know what? No, we're not going to do that today. My husband and I had a conversation this morning, and we went, you know what we're going to do this morning? We're going to play. And he went and played with his camera, and I went and played in the studio
mm-hmm.
because we recognized that life was getting a little bit heavy and a little bit serious and a little bit exhausting. And we went, no, what we're going to do today is play. And amazing. And amazing to have that freedom to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love it. I absolutely love it. Um, on Saturday, so today is Thursday, we are a day earlier than we would
Mm.
normally be, but on Saturday we're doing our first day of our year planning. We have a whole weekend planned. And what is one thing that you are looking forward to? Because you have a little bit of inside information that some others might not, but what's one thing you're looking forward to with the planning?
I think for the first time, it's going to be bringing all of the ways that I receive information into the picture. So it's not, oh, I've got to, you know, like, I'm going to use a teacher analogy. It was the start of the year. You've got your curriculum. Here's your curriculum, and you've got to plan all your lessons. And you go, oh, really, really? This up, you know, and it was, yes, we need structure, but we also want that flow. And I think this year is the first time I feel that you have created the space for women to do that. You know, and you know, you don't do the work for us, but you hold the space so that we can do that work. So bringing in the idea that I can use creativity to look at what I am birthing, which we've done through purpose-driven pathways, through the cosmic smash booking, to say, yeah, this is okay. What do I want to cause and create this year? What wants to come through? And I have started a little bit. You know, because that it felt right to ask that question and to see it on the page. And so I know that already the universe is saying, oh, well, you know, I'm going to start feeding you a little bit of information before we get to the structure. So we've got the flow coming in, and then we will move into that structured piece and that ability to move from one to the other. I'm really excited about doing the planning this year. And you go,
Who gets
I can
excited
hear,
about planning?
I know, I can hear my inner critic going, what? What did she just say?
Yeah.
And I think as well, being able to do that in community as a solopreneur, it can be really lonely. But to know that somebody else is working on their plan, and you know, we're doing that together, means that you feel held and supported.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that. Love
it's
that.
it's gonna
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun.
It is going to be fun. You know, we do
Yeah,
have some very structured things that we need to do,
yeah,
right? To
yeah.
outline. But that's one of the things about building your business in alignment is that we're not going to cookie cutter it and everybody has to have the same thing in this box and everybody has to have the same thing in this box. It's going to be completely different for everyone, what that's going to look like, what we're going to focus on, you know. And so I'm super excited, and the lead up that we've done with the Cosmic Smash booking and all of that has been amazing. And
I think
yeah.
I think what the whole Cosmic Smash booking journey did, certainly for me, is allow me the space to listen rather than just thinking, oh, well, I'm going to be doing this, this, and this. And actually, the Cosmic Smash booking journey, most pages didn't turn out anything like I thought and I was going, oh, okay, right. So I need, you know, it's just seeing things differently. And I think giving yourself permission to take that time to listen, and then when you are leaning into what spirit wants you to cause and create this year, then you sort of can't fail, because the universe is sort of is ahead of you, and you're working. It's like that dance, of just, you know, you take a step, and as I did when I left my job, you know, I take a step, and then the universe, and then we get to do the work. It doesn't all, you know, it's not all woo. It's not all, you know, we have to do the work. We can't just wish upon a star. I mean, we do that. You know, we have set new moon intentions, and then we do the work.
hmm
Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
it's using all of the energies, right? Because yes, we
Yes.
do have to do the work, but we can also allow the universal energies to work with us so that we don't have
Yeah.
to do it all by ourselves. And I think
Yes,
that's a really important part.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And I love the way that it's, I mean, the alignment of the um is just perfect this year. You know, we've just experienced the full moon, and I loved the full moon ceremony that I did. I mean, you know, I was just on my own in my garden, you know, but it was very consciously letting go of all of my preconceived ideas of what I think is the next year is going to look like. And saying, yeah, okay, I am open. I'm open to say, right, what am I going to be? What am I going to be doing?
Mhm.
How do I get to be? And really the word that keeps coming for me in this whole releasing process is actually the word relinquish that we talked about of, and relinquish is about leaving behind. So it's not just letting go, it's letting go and leaving it behind, not letting go and then dragging it, with us into
Mhm.
the next year, which,
Yeah,
I have done in the past many
we've all
times.
done it.
Go, oh
We've
yeah,
all
I've
done it.
completely let that go. And then you run back and, like, yeah.
Yes. Lori's excited for planning too. I love it. I love it.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
before I ask you, or actually, I'm going to ask you what, nope, my brain just went because I was excited for Lori because she's got a little,
Yeah.
party blower. I'm going to ask if anyone has any questions for
Oh,
Celia.
yeah.
And while they're writing that, Celia, if you have any final comments before we go, and if they have any questions, you can just put it in the chat. And
Mm,
but yeah, any
Well,
final thoughts before we go?
any final thoughts? Um, I, so when I always turn to my book and go, what do you want to say? But I've been thinking about a word of the year. And at the moment, I don't have a word of the year. I have an energy, a vibration that I am being invited to work with. And that is the element of water. I've no idea where this is going to take me. I'm going, oh, I know how to work with a word of the year. What do you mean? What do you mean you're going to work with element of water? So I'm going to read a quote, which is not my quote. It's from Women Who Run with the Wolves. And it fits in beautifully with the medicine of the mill, going through the mill. And the quote is this. It's by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. And if you've not read Women Who Run with the Wolves, that is your number one book to read at the start of January. To bring back creative life, the waters have to be made clean and clear again. We have to wade into the sludge, purify the contaminants, reopen the apertures, and protect the flow from future harm. And I think I'm being invited to really lean into that flow of water and what that looks like to me. So that is my message, my gift, but not my
Mhm.
gift, because it's a powerful quote, and that whole, how are we stepping into that flow? Is my river clear? As we clear out the sludge of the previous year, and just letting that go.
Mhm.
Open the floodgates. Ooh, that gave me the chills.
And water is uh, it's where I get most of my ideas in the shower, in the tub, in the pool,
Yeah,
like if
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
water
yeah,
is necessary for me to keep things flowing. And
yeah,
so I think that yeah, what a
yeah,
great
yeah,
element to
yeah,
explore.
yeah.
Mm. Well, I'm excited. Well, I want to thank you so much for being here. And
Thank you.
I know I forgot to confirm with you, but we had a free gift that I'm gonna,
We do.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, we
Did you
do.
want to talk about it?
Yeah, we do have a free gift. We may need to double check that we got the link right. But the free gift is my magical key one, which is the start of the journey, and it's a beautiful key actually this time of the year. I mean, it works at any time of the year, but just at the start of the year, um, I take you through. I give you a workbook to because you to get to do the work with lots and lots of beautiful journal prompts about where are you, where do you want to go, and where are you starting from, what are your resources that you need, where are your gaps, and above all, giving yourself permission. So you have a beautiful permission slip in that workbook. So start of the journey, magical key number one. That's my gift to you.
Perfect. Yes, that's the one I have the link for. So I'm like, I didn't want to say which one it
Excellent.
was because I was pretty sure it was that one, but
Yeah,
I should have confirmed. So
good,
thank you
good.
again, Celia, for being here, and I
Thank
really do
you.
appreciate it.
It's been
And
fun.
to everyone listening, oh, just a second,
Yeah.
there's a message here from Lori. Thank you both for this inspiring conversation. I appreciate this community and your wisdom. Thank you, Lori. Thank
Thank you, Laurie. Thank you.
you. And for others, are you a woman interested in aligning your heart-centered business with your ethics, values, and life goals? Join our Aligned Business Building Mastermind. We have accountability, like-minded women, become business colleagues to share the journey with, and resources and trainings and so much more, as Celia has spoken to. And you can
Yeah.
get 90% off your first 30 days. And for the cost of a latte, you can begin to align your business. The link will be below with the coupon code ALIGNED90. So thank you, and we will see you again on the Aligned Ambition
Wonderful.
Show. Bye now.
Thank you.